You think time speeds up as you get older because life gets busier, more responsibilities, more to do. That's what everyone says. But everyone is wrong. The real reason has nothing to do with your schedule and everything to do with something your brain is quietly destroying every single day. And the worst part? You can't stop it. Once you know the mechanism, you'll never look at a calendar the same way again. Think back to when you were 7 years old. A single summer stretched out in front of you like an eternity.
You could wake up, eat breakfast, play outside, eat lunch, build a fort, chase a friend, eat dinner, watch the sun go down, and somehow still feel like the day had only just begun. That summer probably felt longer than your entire last 5 years combined. You're not imagining that. It's not nostalgia playing tricks on you. The math is actually on your side. In 2019, a team of researchers at the University of Manchester published a study on how humans perceive time across their lifespan. They asked participants of all ages to estimate the duration of a 3-minute interval without looking at a clock. The younger participants were consistently closer to the actual time.
The older participants? They routinely underestimated it. Some thought 3 minutes had passed when only 90 seconds had gone by. Their internal clocks were literally ticking slower. But the researchers found something even stranger when they mapped the data against age. The perception of time doesn't just drift. It follows a near-perfect logarithmic curve. Every year you age, your brain processes slightly fewer frames of experience per second. By the time you hit 60, you're running at roughly half the subjective speed of a 10-year-old. Now, the most common explanation you'll hear for this is the proportional theory.
When you're 5, 1 year is 20% of your entire life. When you're 50, it's just 2%. So of course a year feels shorter. The math is simple, it's elegant, and it's completely wrong. Not the math, the conclusion. Because the proportional theory assumes your brain is constantly referencing the total length of your life every time it processes a moment. And that's not how memory works. Memory doesn't measure time against a running total. Memory measures time against the density of what happened inside it. Here's the part nobody talks about. Your brain doesn't record everything equally. It prioritizes the new, the unexpected, the dangerous, the emotionally charged.
When you were a child, everything was new. Your first bike ride, your first day of school, the first time you tasted a lemon. Each of those experiences triggered a massive cascade of neural firing across your hippocampus. Your brain was frantically encoding detail after detail because it had never seen any of this before. That encoding creates density, and density creates the feeling of duration. When you look back on a week where you experienced 100 novel things, that week feels stretched out because your brain has 100 distinct memories to unpack. When you look back on a week where you did the same thing every single day, your brain has maybe 2 or 3 memories to offer.
The rest is just a blank smear. So what actually happens as you age? You stop encountering novelty. You wake up at the same time, you take the same route to work, you eat the same breakfast, you sit in the same chair, you scroll the same apps, you watch the same shows. Your brain, being an efficiency machine, recognizes that these patterns are safe and predictable. It stops investing energy into recording them. It compresses the routine into a single thin file labeled "Another Ordinary Day." You blink, and that file merges with the file from yesterday, and the day before, and the month before, and suddenly you're 40 years old, wondering where the last decade went.
But here's the twist that nobody warns you about. It's not that time is speeding up, it's that your memory is getting thinner. Time itself isn't changing. The universe doesn't care how old you are. A second is a second. What's changing is the amount of your life that gets preserved. And the scariest part? This is not a bug in your brain. It's a feature. Your brain evolved to conserve energy. Encoding novel experiences costs metabolic resources. If there's no survival advantage to remembering this same commute for the 1,000th time, your brain simply stops paying attention. It's not lazy, it's efficient. But efficiency is what's stealing your life.
Researchers have tested this in controlled environments. They've taken adult volunteers and immersed them in completely novel settings for a week. New language classes, new physical environments, new social groups. After just 7 days, the participants reported that the week felt significantly longer than a normal week at home. Their brain scans showed elevated activity in the same regions that hyper-encode childhood memories. The feeling of time slowing down is something you can actively induce. The problem is, nobody does it because it's uncomfortable, it's exhausting. It requires breaking the routine that keeps you safe. So you keep choosing comfort.
And your brain keeps deleting the evidence. So what do you actually do with this information? You can't stop your brain from optimizing. You can't flip a switch and suddenly perceive time the way you did at 7, but you can understand what's being taken from you. Every time you say, "I'll do that next year," or "I'll try something new when things calm down," your brain is already erasing the stretch of time between now and then. The year will pass either way. The only question is whether your brain will bother to save any of it. The researchers at Manchester didn't just find a curve. They found that the curve holds steady until about age 65, and then something shifts.
The perception of time actually stabilizes, not because life gets more novel, but because the brain stops comparing. It stops measuring. It just accepts the compression. In a way, that's the most peaceful outcome. But it also means the window where you can actually fight this is earlier than you think. The next time you blink and realize a year has vanished, don't ask where the time went. Ask what you actually did. If the answer is nothing, then time isn't the enemy. You are. And the only thing that can save you is doing something you've never done before your brain decides